Hello everybody, how you doing? It's Dave D's coming to you today to explain to you about my favorite project of the year. I'm talking about paper mache time. Let's get to it. Our paper mache project, at least the first paper mache project of the year, is going to be that everyone has to make a mask. Now, there's lots of different reasons that people have used masks before. People use masks for horror. Historically, they use them all over the world in order to symbolize power and use them for rituals in Africa and Asia with masks. In any way that you happen to personally connect with the art of masks, I would like you to represent some sort of power through your mask. In the way that you design it, the way you build it, I want it to be able to show us a little bit about what that power might be. For example, you might make a creature that when you put it on, it protects you from evil spirits. So it might have sharp teeth, but it also might have a Ghostbusters logo on somewhere that you changed a little bit and stylized it and made it your own design. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make a little poster for our mask. It's going to say the name of the mask. It's going to have a picture of the mask, exactly how you plan on designing it. And then at the bottom, you're going to explain what is the purpose of this mask? What does this mask do for the person who wears it, do to the person that wears it, do to the enemies of the person who wears it? I don't know. You got to tell me what's going on. So you and a partner could figure out exactly how that's going to go, get your drawings done on the first day, sketch out a couple different ideas about what you might make, and then once you're finished making the whole poster, and that is its own work of art that's going to get graded, then after that we get to the fun part. We're going to grab some cardboard and some tape and some paper and some whatever other things that we happen to use, and we're going to make what's called an armature. An armature is basically the skeleton that goes underneath a sculpture. So what we need to do is make sure that we are building it strong. You need to make sure you're getting your tape really well applied on there. You also need to make sure everything is strong enough, thick enough to be able to handle a wet piece of paper being wrapped around it, because that's how you make paper mache. You take it and you dip paper in gluey water, you wipe most of it off, but it's still a wet piece of paper, so that's pretty heavy. So if you try and make a wing or a big eyebrow coming off of yours and you make it out of one piece of paper, that's not going to work. If you make it out of cardboard and you really tape it down nice and solid, then it's going to be able to handle that wet paper, that paper mache that we're going to wrap around it eventually. So you're going to get your pieces cut and made. You're going to figure out what needs to pop out. You're going to make that out of paper and tape, or you're going to make that out of cardboard, and maybe we might have some hot glue out. I don't know. It depends on how good the kids are being. After you get your underneath part made, you're going to cover it in 4 layers of paper mache. What we usually do in my class to make sure we can tell is we'll do a different color for each layer, and then the last 2 layers are white, because we want it to be covered in white drawing paper completely, so that way any art supply we would have used on just a blank white piece of paper, we can use all those same art supplies on our mask, which is going to be great. It's going to make things easy. If we want to use a Sharpie, if we want to make a color fade with some colored pencils, if we want to use markers, if we want to use watercolor, if we want to use regular paint, we can use any of those things. It gives us all the options, and that's why we like to finish it off with 2 layers of white. And then last, nope, not last, second to last, I tricked you. Second to last thing you're going to do is you are going to draw your designs on your mask. Every painter ever in the history of painting, unless it's some just like Jackson Pollock throw the bucket of paint up against the wall type of thing, everything from the Mona Lisa to your favorite weird album cover of crying clowns, it was all drawn before it was painted. People need a guideline to go off of when they're painting, because painting is hard enough to keep things where they're supposed to be, make sure that you have the right colors mixed, all those sorts of things. You don't need to be worrying about where does it need to go. Is this where the eye goes on the head? Is that where the eye goes? That's why you draw all your outlines ahead of time. And then once you have your outlines on there, then you start to add Sharpie, you start to add paint, you start to add watercolor, colored pencil fades, whatever you need in order to get the best textures you can. And remember at the end to make sure it is still the same thing that you made a poster for at the beginning. If you want to bring yours up to the next level, at the end of this, for extra credit, you will also write me a little story. Now, that story can be all words, or that story can be a few frames of a comic book, but it's going to involve your mask and your mask doing its ability. So that's the big challenge for the hashtag Art Squad extra credit in my class. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, and if you didn't like it, then give it a dislike. Have a good day, everybody. Goodbye.